One of the documents that my broker and myself require that you sign in order to work with me is the buyer advisory. So this document is 13 pages long. It's updated fairly regularly as more information comes about or more buyers have questions. It's basically a resource document for anybody looking to purchase a property. So this is one of the first documents that I have you sign as part of the onboarding process and working with me. It's broken out into a couple sections, 5 sections total. And then the last page is just an acknowledgement that you have signed and that you have received this document from me. So the first section is pretty comprehensive. It breaks down pretty much every document that you're probably going to have to review or sign as part of the purchase of a property. So the purchase contract, which I'll go over in more detail, MLS printouts that you'll get from the title company once you're under contract, a subdivision disclosure report. The seller will provide what's called a seller property disclosure statement. The CC&Rs for if the property's in an HOA, you'll get HOA governing documents, you'll get a title report, HOA disclosures. I mean, there's a bunch of documents that are all part of the process of purchasing a home, that are all part of sort of the investigative process, due diligence of buying a home. So section 1 just outlines every single one of these documents. And then there's also in there it's hyperlinked. So as you can see right here, this link would take you to the affidavit of disclosure for lead-based paint. If the property was built before 1978, you have a lead-based paint disclosure. All of these documents are in here and available for you to review. I'll have videos on all of them to break them down and explain them to you. But if you want, to review them, or it's easier for you to review rather than watch the video, they can all be found in this document. So section 2 is common physical conditions that you should investigate as part of your inspection period. So that is normally a 10-day window, depending on market conditions. If it's more of a seller market, sometimes we have to reduce that inspection period time. So if we have to do that, just know that we go from 10 days to maybe 5 or 7 days. But this is your time to do all of your due diligence on the property. So things that your inspector will look at, and they might say, well, you might need more of an expert. So like for the roof, they'll take a look at the roof, make sure it's in good condition. If there's concerns, they'll say you might want to get a roofing expert out here. Same with HVAC or anything like that. They'll have a pest control company come out and do a termite inspection. If the square footage matters to you, you truly want to have it verified. That's typically done during the appraisal period, but sometimes people really want to make sure it's dialed in. They don't want to go off the MLS report or what the county assessor has said that the square footage is. You want to verify whether it's on a sewer or a septic system, all of those things. That's where you would find all of this information on how to verify those things or how to do additional research during your inspection period. So if there's anything of massive concern to you, like that's all done during the inspection period. After section 2, we go into section 3, which is other things that could affect the property. So there's areas all over Maricopa County, which is my primary area of service. Whether it's a Superfund site, there's expansive soil. There are certain things that sellers don't have to disclose to you, such as whether a sex offender lives in the neighborhood or not. That's something that as a buyer you would have to verify on your own. If crime statistics matter to you, now sellers do have to disclose something like being in the flight path or near an airport. So if you're in Surprise, everybody knows you're pretty close to Luke Air Force Base, so that's going to be disclosed. If you're in Tempe, for example, or parts of Phoenix where you're super close and you're in the flight path of Sky Harbor, that would be disclosed. North Phoenix has Deer Valley Airport. Mesa has the Gateway Airport. So some things will be disclosed, some things won't be disclosed as part of the purchase of the home. But if it's important to you, it's better for you to verify on your own and not fully rely on the seller to disclose that information to you. If schools are important to you and that matters to you, this link right here would take you to the Department of Real Estate Department of Education, where you could look up the schools, how they are rated in that particular area that you're looking in. And then section 4 is it's pretty a short section. It just basically breaks down how to talk to neighbors or how to get additional information on the property. So as you're doing your inspections and as you're sort of verifying, does a commute work for you? What does the property look like at night or on the weekend? Or, if you saw it during the day when everybody's at work, it might be different at night. You might want to drive by at night. You might want to check your commute if that's concern. You can also talk to the neighbors. Sometimes they're outside. It's always nice to kind of get a feel for what the neighborhood is like and what your neighbors are like. Section 5 is just a resource document for certain things, such as the market conditions advisory. So if we're back into a seller heavy market, then I will discuss that with you, and I'll discuss the pros and cons of that with you depending on what the market is like. Wire fraud advisory is a really big deal. It's another document that I'm required to have you sign, and I talk you through the risks of wiring money, what you need to do to protect yourself. And fair housing and disability laws, that's always sort of a concern sometimes. So we want to make sure that we're following all of those laws as well. And then finally on page 3, all you're doing when you sign this document is you're signing acknowledging that you have received it. It has to go in my broker file. It's part of the complete file that I have to provide to the Department of Real Estate at closing. So this is one of the very first documents I have you sign because it's so important, and it's such a great resource for you to find any information that you need to find out about a property, any question that you have. I'll refer back to it quite a bit. If you have questions for me that I can't answer, I'll tell you to go back to the buyer advisory, and I'll review where you can go find the information that's important to you.